the fire is back. We can speak now to the spokesperson for Parliament, Mothapo. Moloto, if you're able to hear me, I understand you're in somewhat of a noisy place because we are dealing with an emergency situation. What are you able to tell us at this point about the flare-up?
Yeah, thank you very much, Thembekile. I think what one needs to say that it is inexplicable. It's quite devastating because after almost 2 days of firefighters battling the fires, particularly in this National Assembly building, at a time when we thought that all the fire has been put out completely, we are suddenly seeing a re-emergence of raging fire on the roof of the National Assembly building. And there has been reinforcement of firefighters, and currently they are engaging with the fire from an aerial point of view. Mm-hmm. But we are confident that with the reinforcement and the manner in which we are tactically dealing with it, we should be able to win this battle. It's a very brave fight. It's a very dangerous one. But these are brave men and women who are really doing their best to bring it under control.
Is this latest fire, Moloto, contained to just the roof of the National Assembly building?
Well, because the building, you can't see it, the inside from outside. What we can only see now is the raging fire that is now engulfing the most part of the National Assembly building. So we are not sure as to where it is emerging, but obviously it's emerging from inside, and it has sort of shot through the roof of this building. So we'll be getting more detailed information from the firefighters once they manage to bring this under control.
How long has it been since this flare-up, Moloto?
We are talking about just about 30 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at this point, am I right to say there perhaps hasn't been any briefing between yourselves and the firefighters to sort of just make sense of why we're back here?
Yeah, no, it's something that has just occurred. It has caught at least us who are not a part of the firefighters, because they will have more intimate knowledge than us. But it has caught us by surprise. You remember that just an hour or so ago, the presiding officers were briefing the media, and based on the information that they had, they did indicate that the fire is almost put out, defeated. But suddenly there is just this re-emergence of the raging fire on the roof. Mm-hmm. So like I'm saying, once there is calm has been restored, and the fire has been put under control, we should be able to get information from the firefighters.
And there was talk earlier today, after the reports, or confirmation at least, that the flames had been put out, that forensic teams and the rest of the investigators would try to go in to sort of establish what happened with the initial fire. Were there any forensic workers and other investigators inside the building at the time of the flare-up?
Yeah, a team of multidisciplinary, or rather a multidisciplinary team of engineers has arrived from Johannesburg, and they were supposed, as far as I know, to begin with the work and to be given access to the building so that they can begin. But they can only do that once the fire has been put out, because that was the information that we got was based on the assumption that the fire has almost or completely been put out. But now with this re-emergence, I can suspect that they will have to wait perhaps tomorrow in order for that to begin with their work.
For the purpose of clarity, Moloto, I know I was saying earlier that there was indication this morning that the fire had been put out. What exactly was said by the firefighters? Did they say that it was contained or completely extinguished?
Well, it was never indicated that it is completely put out. We understood that from a layman's point of view, it could have been 95% put out. At the time when we were having a press conference just an hour ago, we understood and we were informed that essentially what is remaining inside is the heat. And there was indication that a heat of about 100 degrees or more remains inside or trapped inside the building. And they were doing, all efforts were being geared towards ensuring that the smoke is extracted and that the temperature is normalized so that the building can be accessible by the investigators.
Let's take a few steps back while we have you and talk about the damage that we know so far to have been suffered. I know that the National Assembly chamber itself, which many of us are familiar with because that's where the larger sittings happen, that is said to have been in the main completely gutted. What else has been lost?
Well, the National Assembly is one of the biggest losses really that the country has suffered. And there were quite a number of course, the National Assembly is surrounded by various, several floors of offices where the members of parliament and parliamentary staff are working from. So the majority of those offices have been completely destroyed. And of course, there is also a damage in the, not so much by fire, but by water in the old assembly chamber, where it now serves as a committee room and what used to be a old apartheid chamber. And but we'll continue to provide with really the exact details of the extent of the damage.
Final one before I let you go at this very early stage, Moloto. I would imagine that this flare-up then will have some implications possibly for the expectation that we're going to get a report on the initial cause of the fire by Friday, because now the investigators can't access the building.
Absolutely. I think it goes without saying.
Moloto Mothapo, spokesperson for Parliament. We may touch base with you later on in this broadcast. For now, thank you so much for being on Newzroom Afrika. For those of you just coming in, you're looking at a live shot of the National Assembly, Parliament in South Africa, the fire having flared up. It appears to have come back with that large plume of smoke that you're seeing there billowing from the roof of the National Assembly. According to Moloto Mothapo, the spokesperson for Parliament, there had been optimism that this had been brought under control. You would have heard Moloto telling us that the indication was that at least 95% of the job had been done as far as the firefighters were concerned. We're going to continue with our extended coverage